Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will learn about the WordPress cron and how we can use it to schedule events, how it works internally, its advantages and disadvantages, and the best practices we as developers must follow while using the WordPress cron API. The WordPress cron API allows us to schedule time-based events in WordPress, using which we can perform any background tasks. By default, WordPress uses cron to check for updates including WordPress core updates or plugin and theme updates. Also, to publish a scheduled post. In WordPress, we can schedule the post to publish on a future date. These features utilize the WordPress cron. WordPress cron has functionality similar to the system cron, which is used to schedule some tasks. For example, if you have worked with the Linux servers, then you may be aware of the cron tab, which is used to execute some code at a given time. This may be a single event or some recurring events. However, WordPress cron works by checking on every page load. It will see which scheduled tasks are listed and if there are any tasks due to run, in which case it will call the tasks and run during the page load. This is the critical difference as WordPress cron does not run like a system cron. It will only trigger when the user visits your site. So, for example, if one of your tasks has been scheduled to run at 2 p.m., but even at and after 2 p.m. there is no page load, and the page load occurs as late as 5 p.m., then it will run at 5 p.m. However, be assured that your task will be run. It will be in the queue until the page load occurs. So whenever a user visits the site in the page load, then any scheduled tasks that are in the queue will be executed. There are multiple use cases for using WordPress cron. You can manage any system performing tasks like background tasks or export, import features, or any tasks you want to perform in the background. Most importantly, import and export of content in the background or importing some files into the background. For example, if you want to see how many users have visited or registered on the website daily, we can send a report through email using WordPress cron API. This is the Cron API section in the plugin handbook on developers.wordpress.org, where you can learn more about the Cron API for reference. We will also go through this step by step, where you can learn more about the cron, and we will also see the WordPress code, what are the functions provided by the cron API that we can use, its definition, arguments, and how the WordPress cron executes code. First, we have to learn about scheduling. If you are scheduling an event, we have to provide intervals. At which interval does that particular task have to be done? Is it every 5 minutes, or maybe every 10 minutes, or hourly, twice daily, daily, and weekly? Weekly interval was just added in WordPress 5.4. Moreover, there is a filter called cron schedules, which we can use to add our custom interval. But we cannot remove the default intervals which has been like this in the code and it's used by WordPress. In the codebase, in the same movie library plugin, I have a function called MLB add cron schedules. I am using the filter cron schedules where I have hooked this function. And here we can get all the schedules as an array of cron schedules, along with which I am passing our custom interval 10 minutes. I want to add an interval called 10 minutes where every 10 minutes any scheduled task will be run. So I'm just passing 10 minutes as the interval, which is the interval name or slug we can say, which we can use when scheduling recurring events. Next, I am using the time constant minute in seconds, which provides 60 seconds. Multiply it by 10, so it will be 10 minutes. Then we have the display name that we want to provide, that is every 10 minutes, and then we'll return the schedule. Using this filter, cron schedules, we can add any custom interval which we want to use depending on requirements. This filter is called here in a file called cron.php in the WP includes folder. This filter is called from the WP get schedules function. This function returns an array of schedules and you can see the default schedules added and used by WordPress. And then this filter will be applied here. However, since in this function the default schedules are not passed to the filter, we cannot remove them. We can only add new custom intervals or cron schedules. This function is used in many places where these schedules are required. We will go through it later during some example. This is how we use schedules. Now, let me give you an overview of how we can schedule tasks using WordPress cron. WordPress works in the background as it doesn't have a user interface available in the WordPress core. So, to see a list of cron events that have been registered, what are their intervals, and whether we want to run it manually, we have a plugin called WP-Cron, which I have installed in my local setup. This plugin enables you to view and control what is happening in the WordPress cron events. It also provides a list of events. If you navigate to the settings, you can see the name cron schedules. You can see the internal name of the schedules. So this is the 10-minute interval which we have added. This is hourly, and these are the WordPress core cron schedules. You also have an option to add your own custom interval schedules from here. From the tools or directly from here, you can go to the cron events tab. In this UI, you can see a list of cron events scheduled. Any arguments have been passed, when it will be run, then what are the actions from where this has been executed, and the recurrence of whether it will run twice a daily, once daily, if it is repeating, if it is non-repeating. For example, the publishing future posts, this post with the post ID 223 will be scheduled to publish in the future, and this event has been registered as non-repeating event. Using this plugin, you can see a list of scheduled events, their arguments, their actions, and whether those events are recurring events. If it's a recurring event, then how many intervals will it run? If it's a single event, then it will be non-repeating. You can also add a new cron event from here. Or if you want to change any of the arguments or the hook name you want to pass, you can change it. Maybe you want to change when it will next run, or if you want to change the recurrence, you can do so through this plugin as well. You can also do it using WP-CLI. Let me give you an overview of working with cron using WP-CLI. If you do not want to use the plugin and you are familiar with WP-CLI, you can do it using WP-CLI. If you are not familiar, don't need to worry about it, as you can easily learn WP-CLI and how to use it. We have also covered it in a detailed video tutorials earlier. You can refer to them as well. WP-CLI provides us with the WP help command. This is the WP-Cron command, and it provides us with three subcommands: event, schedule, and test. So if I now run WP help cron event, it will again give me the subcommands about WP cron event command. So I can delete the scheduled cron events, or I can get a list of the cron events. I can also run a scheduled event, whether it's due or if I want to run the cron event before they are due. And also I can schedule and unschedule the cron events. For example, if I run WP cron event list, then it will give me the hooks, what are the WordPress cron events that are there. We also have the next run GMT, when the next run in the global management time or UTC time. The next run is relative, that is when it will be running. Here you can see 11 minutes 34 seconds. And the recurrence, hourly, 12 hours, that means twice daily or once daily. You can also go through it and you can run that command using WP cron event run. I can just copy this one and then enter WP cron event run and pass the event name, and it will be run. Or you can also pass -- due. So this will run the events that are due and the events that have already passed their due time. In this way, using WP-CLI, you can interact with the WordPress cron and schedule events. If you run WP cron schedule list, you can view all the registered schedules. Similarly, this information can also be accessed from the WordPress plugin WP Control. It depends on the user's preference. If the user is familiar with WP-CLI, they can use it. Otherwise, they can install the plugin to manage cron events. This plugin can be used primarily for reading purposes, but in some cases, it can also be used to modify the events depending on various use cases. There is also this command WP cron test, which will simply check whether your WP cron is working as expected, and if it is not, then it will throw a warning or error. These are simple WP-CLI commands that you can learn to manage the WP cron. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Jai WordPress!